G'day there guys, it's your main man Markee, back at it again with some more Entitled Parent stories. I upload here daily, and if you don't want to miss out, then you better smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Anyway cobbers, it's time to sit back, relax, chuck a prawn on the barbie, and enjoy these Entitled Parent stories. Our first story was posted by user Mother of Pancakes, titled, "At age 9, I was forced to stay home from our 3-day school trip because of entitled parents. And it broke my heart and had lasting effects on my life. As a child, I was enrolled in Washington, D.C. private school, so kids of politicians, diplomats, lawyers, doctors, etc. The school charged an insane amount for tuition, expected parents to pay thousands extra in fees and donations, and took kids on their choice of 4 2-week trips, either art in Europe, skiing in New Hampshire, or scuba diving and biology in Australia. Hooroo! Also, that's not how you spell it. What is that I doing in there? Every year that costs tens of thousands. One girl's mum brought a dark room and a camera equipment for the school so her daughter could learn photography. These parents and their kids were beyond entitled. My parents could afford my tuition, but that was a stretch for them, so we weren't viewed as being especially valuable to the school. My school was taking each grade on a 3-day trip, and they got us psyched up for all year. The teacher asked each child to list their 5 top choices for roommates. The week before the trip, my mum got a call from the principal. I was nosy, so I picked up too and listened in on the conversation. Basically, she said, "Well, none of the kids want your daughter in their cabin. They don't like her. We suggested that it would be a nice thing to do, but the parents didn't think their children should be forced to be with someone that they disliked. We don't have enough cabins to put her in one by herself, so you should just keep her home." I was devastated. 9 years old, completely heartbroken, in tears. They, quote, didn't want their children to be uncomfortable. But you know, it's okay for any 9-year-old girl to know that no one likes her and her school doesn't care how she feels. I refused to go back to school. I was so ashamed that I felt shattered and stupid and worthless. That was the beginning of a downslide into depression. I had been told by those kids for years that I was worthless, stupid, ugly, and one year I did a report on being adopted, and let me tell you, the kids had a field day with that. But the realization that not one single person was in my corner, not even the teachers, it just broke me. I believed them all. I was worthless. At age 12, my parents put me in a resident hospital school for kids with severe depression. I am now 35 and have a good life, wonderful friends, great kids, and I foster all kinds of abandoned and unwanted animals. Life is good. I'm loved and I'm happy, but I still get choked up thinking back to that phone call. F all those bratty kids and their entitled parents. Our next story was posted by user ANS89, titled, "I was called a tramp because I lost my virginity and entitled mum couldn't handle it. So, I got slut-shamed and made to feel like trash by my Mormon fiance's mum. It's important to note that I'm 30 now, so this happened when I was still in high school. So I met this guy when I was 16, and we started dating. Fast forward 2 years, and we're both out of high school and engaged. Looking back on it, an 18-year-old has no business being engaged. Anyways, my then fiancé had been raised Mormon, and wanted me to convert to the religion as that was what was expected by me and everyone in his big Mormon family. So I went through all the lessons and got baptized in the church. That part is important. His family was Air Force, and so they moved around a lot. So shortly after he proposed, his family moved to Colorado, so the relationship became long distance. That summer when he came to visit, things got hot and heavy, and we ended up losing our virginity to each other. I'd been raised to save myself for marriage, and figured that since I was engaged to this guy, who at the time was the love of my life, it was basically the same thing. Big mistake. So, a few days later, he gets typical Mormon guilt and decides to tell both his parents, and his bishop at church. Next thing I know, my mum gets a call from fiance's mother telling her that I am no longer welcome at their home. When my mum asked why, she was told that Jezebels and harlots aren't welcome in their house of the Lord because my son would have never been tempted or agreed to any of this if your daughter wasn't such a temptress. At this point, my mum goes off on her, telling her that she hates to break it to her, but it takes two to tango, and she might want to have a conversation with her son, as he was more than capable of making that decision on his own, as we are both 18. His mother then hangs up in my mum's face, and for the next 2 weeks, proceeds to make a point to call our house at least twice a day, leaving messages on our answering machine about how much of a slut that I am, how God hates me, and how I should be ashamed of myself. At this point, I honestly had no experience in handling any of this, and would be reduced to tears on the daily. From a religious perspective, I understand the value of chastity before marriage, but when you resort to acts of harassment and slander is beyond my comprehension even to this day. You might be asking what consequences befell my fiancé during all of this. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. He told his parents and they forgave him and told him that he was a victim and not responsible. His bishop, the Mormon equivalent of a pastor, told him to ask God for forgiveness and to read his scriptures daily. To make matters worse, his mother decides to make a phone call to the bishop at my church and tell him that everything that happened. Next thing I know, I'm getting pulled into his office and told that my sin was second only to murder and that God in His grace have abandoned me. I was beside myself in tears. Furthermore, I was told that I was no longer allowed to teach Sunday school, and I wasn't permitted to sit with anyone during the sermon. That's right, I was made to sit by myself and separate from everyone, just to drive the point home that I wasn't worthy to sit with everyone else. The whole experience was absolutely horrific and caused me a lot of trauma that I had to work through as a result. His mother still maintains to this day that I am the worst person on the face of the planet, and that her son is a saint. Needless to say, we broke off our engagement, and we went our separate ways. Update on the aftermath. After I stopped going to sacrament or the ward in general, the Mormon missionaries would routinely sit outside my house, waiting for either me or my mum to get home. When I moved to a new city, they continued to sit outside my mum's house to ask me where I was. Somehow, they found out where I had moved, transferred my records to that ward, and the harassment continued. It took 5 years and a cease and desist letter from a lawyer to get them to leave me alone and remove my name from the church records. I'm not religious at all anymore. You don't have to have religion to be a good person. And truth be told, those that claim religion tend to be the worst garbage people I've ever met. They hide behind the theology as a justification for treating people like crap. So yeah, after going to massive amounts of therapy to reprogram my brain out of thinking that I was nothing but trash, I left all organized religion and never looked back. Since then, now at 30, I've spent every day since then rebuilding everything that he broke, and I refuse to ever be treated like that by anyone ever again. Our next story was posted by user BabyGirlR, titled, Entitled Mother, Only Mums Should Be Allowed to Take Halloween Off. Some context. My job allows you to request time off a month in advance. They always push you to ask further out, so they have more time to find coverage. Days requested are first come, first serve. We are required to work all holidays except Thanksgiving and Christmas. Other holidays are usually requested way earlier in the year, so later requests are denied. Holidays are usually requested at least 6 months in advance. A few of my co-workers were all discussing their Halloween plans with their children today. They were complaining about not being able to take the children out because they had been scheduled to work in the evening and had been denied their request. The conversation took a turn that I should have expected, but I was surprised regardless. One of the women was significantly more upset than the others and told the group, "I requested Halloween off 2 months ago and they didn't give it to me. I was gonna take my kids to a pumpkin patch. They gave the day off to Mike and he doesn't even fucking have kids. He's gonna go out and get drunk while my kids cry at home. Only mums here should be allowed to have Halloween off. We have kids to take out." All of these women agreed very loudly and kept ranting with her about other holidays and how it's wrong to not prioritize women and children over people who quote-unquote just want to party. The most ironic part of this is that I've heard the main woman brag about how she only likes being a mum on holidays because she gets the day off. Then she's pissed off because she doesn't get Halloween off, and I have a hunch that it's nothing to do with her kids. I guess you don't get to enjoy holidays if you don't have children. God, what a stuck-up bunch. This is a genuine story too. What is wrong with people? How can you be that salty? Just play by the rules. Do the 6 months off. Don't be pissed off when someone books the holiday off. Get over yourself. Our next story was posted by user Knight1967, titled, "My ex felt entitled to our daughter. False allegations galore. Ends extremely poorly for her." So, when my ex and I got together, she had a very small business. I offered to help her expand it, an offer that she jumped on, of course. As I could see, it was a good opportunity for our new family, and I'm good at that type of thing. The more I worked and grew her company, the less she worked, and the more she spent, traveled, restaurants, gift, nanny and housekeeper, etc. It was pathetic, staying in bed until noon, up on late on social media, drama, drama, drama. The nanny took care of the house and kids. The business was bringing in $75,000 per month. It was about $10,000 per month before I started helping her out. She's now averaging only about 3 days of working per month. Obviously, I addressed the situation with her several times, and then she's calling me an abusive SOB, son of a B. For the record, I was always very kind and supportive of her and her family, never abusive at all in any fashion. And in hindsight, she was actually very abusive to me. Verbally, psychologically, physically, but I was a real man. I can take it. She's not like this all the time. Blah, blah, frickin' blah. So guess what? She cuts me out of the now very successful business and takes over. Claims a monkey can do what I did. Soon after this, she files police reports, falsely accuses me of abusing her older daughter. Police and Child Protective Services are involved because of the very serious nature of the false allegations. I have to move out, and it takes a year before I can see our younger daughter again. Court, police, and CFS are satisfied the allegations are false. I'm allowed access. Another false allegation is made, and another, and another, and another. CFS and police investigation ensue, all false. I opened up my home and entire life to them. I had done nothing wrong, and I had nothing to hide. They were allowed access to anything they wanted, any time they wanted. Unannounced was fine too. I drove the investigation forward. They start looking at her now. Emotional abuse of the kids. I think what helped me was a lot when they asked me to take a lie detector test, and I agreed too on the condition that she had to as well. She refused, and they never asked again. Suddenly, she wants to talk about getting back together. I've been hearing that her business has suffered horribly since she took over, and she's been blacklisted by a lot of customers. It failed, and she'd like to work for me. My reply was not what she wanted to hear. Frick you. Allegations continue, all false. And CFS realizes it. CFS seizes the kids from her. Now my daughter is with me, full time. Mother can't see her without CFS supervision. Court-imposed psych assessment reveals that she has a nasty psychological disorder. Must get years of treatment. Oh well, too bad, so sad. I'm one of the few guys out there that gets awarded child support. But she's on welfare now in an effort to avoid paying child support. Obviously, that's in the best interest of the child. Quite the difference in lifestyle, I suspect. There's more. A lot more. Even worse for her, but I can't say much without identifying people involved. And our last story was posted by a user, MNun44, titled, "Actual Karen, upset I dyed my hair." Long-time lurker, mobile, apologies. When I was about 15, I attended a very religious Baptist school. It was bat crap. On to the story. So at 15, I really wanted to dye my hair. My mother always had, and I was excited about trying something other than the dishwater brown that I had. I begged and begged, and my mum finally said okay, as long as it was semi-permanent. I desperately wanted red, so off to Walmart we went. We found a foam mousse that said it lasted 2 weeks. Box says auburn. Sweet, a natural color. Handbook says no dyeing your hair unnatural colors, cause God. So we dye my hair, and when it comes out, this shit is red. Like fire hydrant, Little Mermaid, cherry popsicle red. But it looks great. Lit af, I'm thrilled. But I'm nervous and ask my mum if she thinks it'll be okay, and if I'll get in trouble. She works as a teaching assistant at the school and says she doesn't think that it'll be a problem, and we head to school the next day. Also, on this day, we're doing a volunteer day to stack wood for an old man. Welcome to New England. I get to school and once inside, the hat comes off. It's a very small school. Entire high school is about 30 people and 5 teachers. Loads of compliments, teachers too, and all is well. But not for entitled kid. She's got a face like a shrunken sphincter, and she's been glaring at me all morning. I hate this goody two-shoes bitch anyway, so I ignore her. Well, entitled kid's mum is the receptionist for the school, and she doesn't like me either. About 11 AM, I get hauled out of class and into the principal's office. Already very humiliated and not sure what's going on, I get there to entitled mother and principal glaring at me. Entitled mother claims that I was bragging to everyone that I didn't have to follow the rules, and knows because entitled kid told her, and that I thought I wouldn't get in trouble because my mum works at the school. My mum is a 2nd grade teaching assistant. I'm in high school. Also, I have said nothing to anyone. I've never ever been in trouble. Straight A student, and the teachers love me. I'm a huge goddamn nerd. The principal decides Karen, actual name, is definitely telling the truth. They say I don't reflect godly values with my sinner's hair, and I'm not allowed to go help stack an old man's firewood because I don't represent God with this sinner's hair. I leave the office building sobbing, and my old teacher catches me and asks what is going on. I sob and explain, and then head to the empty room that I meant to sit in alone the whole afternoon while all my friends go off together to volunteer. On the way, I pass entitled kid and entitled mother talking, and entitled kid smirks at me. But old teacher has other plans. Legit the best woman ever. She goes to find my mum, knowing this whole thing is BS. My mum loses her goddamn mind, and the room I'm in is next door to the principal's office. Shares a wall. I can hear her yelling. She goes up one side and down the other, saying that she doesn't know what the entitled mother's problem is, but if they had half a brain, they'd know that Karen likes to stir shit up. And I'm legit a 15-year-old who has zero history of causing trouble. 5 minutes later, the principal and a fuming Karen are in my classroom, or prison, to say that while they don't think my hair is Christ-like and I will need to wear a hat the whole time that I stack wood, I can go to the volunteer day. F you, Karen, and your sphincter goblin. Also, I was the best firewood stacker they had. Edit 2. Couple things keep coming up, so for clarity. From my knowledge, there is no Bible verse about dyeing hair. While the handbook was derived from following the Bible, it was also created by a room full of sexist old white dudes. This happened about 15 years ago. Karen was, and remains, a massive tramp. I am not religious at all, and am now agnostic at best. Frick's sake, I edited the swears because I hadn't checked if the sub allowed them. Die mad about it. I like that! Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed that episode. As you can see, the views for those last ones are going down, so I'll probably just post 1 to 2 entitled parents videos a day anyway, as well as 1 to 2 Reddit videos a day, just so that the views can keep up and the channel doesn't actually die out. That was an experiment there, and yeah, if you guys like the entitled parent stories, I'll keep them coming just for you. Anyway, tell me what you thought of it down in the description below. If you have any thoughts on what you guys want to hear, I'm always open to suggestions, and I'll give you a reply if I can. That's all from me today, folks. If you liked the video, give it a like, share, and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day. Bye.